All right, are you ready?
Yes.
I'm ready. Okay.
Cool.
Hey guys, this is the Creatively Ever After podcast. I'm your host, Cat Alvarado, and this is the podcast where we talk about all things creative careers. And it's really a podcast for people who have day jobs and want to pursue creative careers, or if you're already a creative person, you just want to hear more about other people's journeys. So this is that podcast. And without further ado, let me introduce my guest for this episode. He is an artist. He's done work for, oh my goodness, so many celebrities, just designing posters for Dolly Parton. What? Lady Gaga. So many others. His work has been featured in art galleries all around the world. This is Kii Arens.
Oh, hi, Kat. Thanks for having me today.
Thanks for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Little Casper here hanging out.
That is our podcast producer, Jeff's dog.
He's so sweet. Casper. Let me guess how you got your name.
He's haunted.
Is that it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually put him down.
Let's put him down. He's fun. He's cute.
Oh.
Hi, Kai. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for that nice intro.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, so you're the first visual artist we've had on the pod. We've had comedians, choreographers, and more comedians.
Yeah, this town is littered with them.
So many comedians, but you don't meet a whole lot of people who actually make a living doing art like something on your wall that someone buys. It's one of those jobs. It's like the quintessential, like, what are you going to be, an artist? That parents are like, you can't do that for money. You're going to die.
My parents never said that. Which kind of takes me to what you had said as part of your intro, where your show is for people who have, want to do creative things outside of their daytime job. The advice my father gave me was feast or famine. Make a career out of your art. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're starting out, you hit the wall a few times. You take a few odd jobs here and there. But in the end, if you force yourself to do that, you just grow as an artist. And when shit hits the fan, you think, how can I creatively pay the bills with the art?
There you go. You have to think outside the box.
Yep, that's right. It's a good way to keep the ball rolling.
What age were you when you were like, I love doing art so much, this is what I want to do my whole life?
7 is what I would have to say. My mother and we used to go to estate sales, and I found this book. Well, there's 2 things. I found a book of Russian fonts. So at age 7, I was attracted to brutalist art, and I didn't know it. And I started making my own letters, big block letters, and Snoopy was a big influence. And in the back of magazines, draw Tippy, these little things, these little turtles that you would draw, and then you would send it in, and no matter how good your drawing was, they would say, you're amazing, join this art, college, which I never did go to school for art. But yeah, 7.
That's around the age I wanted to be a doctor, which I'm not. I also wanted to be an artist. I also wanted to be a ballerina. I also wanted to marry Elvis.
Oh, cool. Cool.
My parents did not have the heart to tell me he was dead, actually.
Maybe you could have saved him.
With a time machine. Yeah. Anywho. So back to you, though.
Okay.
So 7 years old, you're
7.
like, I want to be an artist.
Yeah.
And you start doing art all the time, I imagine, because it's your favorite thing in the world.
Obsessed.
Like, how obsessed were you, though?
Constantly doing different drawing, different projects, toothpick sculptures, recreating rock and roll stages out of existing toys. Our neighborhood, I lived right across the street from a park, was pretty great because they had this art truck that would come around once a week, and we would do like different art exercises. But then I found out that this truck would appear at other parks on different days. So like 3 days a week, I would go and do the same art project at different parks in North St. Paul, Minnesota.
So you're touring?
612.
You're touring your art, essentially?
Well, I don't know if I'd say I was touring. I would get on my bike and just ride a little extra distance to go to another park. And the people that ran the art thing were very cool to me about it, you know, because I was probably pretty excited about it.
I mean, that sounds adorable.
It was, I loved it. My favorite, like they used to do plaster of Paris where you'd pick a mold and you get to make something out of plaster of Paris and you paint it. I would do that tomorrow. In fact, I should have a party at my house where we do plaster of Paris.
Actually,
You're all invited.
I did that. I think I did that when I was really little. It's one of my first childhood
Should
memories.
we do it again?
Yeah, let's do a plaster of Paris painting contest. Not contest, but like.
We should have a contest to come to my plaster of Paris paint party.
No, yeah, my first memory is painting a clown out of plaster of Paris.
Excellent.
Like a color me mine type of a
color. Yeah.
thing.
I mean, Bob Ross, I'm in a new phase right now where I'm buying Bob Ross paintings from Etsy and repainting them. I'm just painting a big smile on them. My Biggie Smiles is my next art obsession. That's what happens. You get an obsession of a certain clowns, as you mentioned. Last year, I had a show called Bonkers, an art show that my ex-girlfriend, we're still friends, Aline and I put together an art show called Bonkers, and it was great. And clowns are huge right now. I mean, when are they not?
I mean, everyone's scared of them.
A lot of people are. People hate them and love them.
But I think that's part of what makes a creative person good at what they do is you'll find something that people aren't necessarily looking at or thinking about and go, oh, hey, look at this really cool thing. And you'll present it in a way that they haven't looked at before.
Yep.
And
not
now it's
unlike
cool
a
again.
comedian who's trying to find a hook around a topic that can push the button. I live for that. Like this new Biggie Smiles thing, I am so obsessed with it. And the way it was discovered and the paths that it's taking me down right now in my art life. And it's important to follow your gut when you have an inclination about art.
I agree with that. So back to your path.
Okay.
So you're 7, you're growing up. Now you're not 7 anymore. You're like 12.
12.
We're fast forwarding.
Yeah.
How old were you when you had like the next turning point in art?
High school, probably. I went through every class we could take in high school. And at the end of that, they invented a course for me in my senior year since I'd taken, they just called it art studio because they knew that that's where I was going. Very blue collar high school. Our high school mascot was a spot welder. No, I'm kidding.
I'm like I'm listening so intently.
No, that's
like,
a good one, right?
really?
Though, but no,
Okay.
it might as well be. But anyway, I shouldn't make fun. I love where I grew up and just the whole small town and all of it. But coming out of high school, I started doing a lot of art for bands. My brother's 6 years older than I. I would do stuff for his bands, and I was a musician at the same time. So I would trade my art for studio time. And it was cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And when was the first time you actually were able to make a living off art? Well, better, when was the first time you actually sold one of your pieces? And it could be a poster, but the first time you made $1 or more on your art.
I would have to say it was 1994. You know, I think I did a couple of like cassette covers and stuff, maybe for like $50 or whatever. But I became the designer for Woodstock 94. I got a job working at Woodstock. It's a long story and how that happened. And I was obsessed with the original Woodstock. So when I found out that they were having the new one in 94, the 25th anniversary, because I was the DJ karaoke host for a guy named Joel Rosen, who originally started Woodstock. And in 1991, I did his 50th birthday party, and I found out who he was.
When you say did his 50th birthday party, you performed there or you
Like
did
I was
art
the
for it?
DJ and
You
I
were the
hosted
DJ. Okay.
karaoke, and everybody was doing all this Woodstock shit. And then one thing led to another, and I realized who he was. And so then I redid the original Artie Skolnick poster with the bird on the guitar, and I took the bird off and I put myself on there and turned the poster into my resume to get the job at Woodstock. And when I got the job at Woodstock, they gave me the job to be the hotel court. Well, actually, the first day I was Michael Lang, the curly-haired cute guy who started it. I was his assistant, and because I had typing experience, but day one I mistyped Michael. And they said, no, this isn't your job. But they gave me the job as the hotel coordinator to book all the bands and stuff. And then one day they brought in all the different designs for merch, right? And Michael, knowing that I'm an artist, said, will you come and check this stuff out and see what you think about it? And all these designs started coming in, and they were tie-dye and shit. And I'm like, this was 94. Groove is in the heart, delight. It was hypercolor. It was rave. And did anybody actually in the staff know who Nine Inch Nails or Green Day was my question.
And those are the people who are playing
at the event, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is 25. This isn't Woodstock. This isn't your mother's and father's Woodstock. And that was my point, because all the designs were local from Woodstock, and they were all super tie-dye. And Michael goes, well, because I said that. I said, you guys realize Nine Inch Nails fans are not going to go for this. And the company that spent all the time and producing all these mock-ups was looking at me like, what are you saying? And Michael goes, well, what's your idea? And just right off the top of my head, I said, I'm going to take the Woodstock logo and I'm going to burn it right into the center of a sunflower. And he goes, can you do that by tomorrow? And I'm like, yes, of course I can. So I had a very famous photographer find out that I was looking for a sunflower. Elliot Landy is his name. He did Bob Dylan's Nashville Skyline, and I thought I was in heaven. I was driving to Elliot Landy's house to pick out a flower photo. But when I got there, they were all like black and white, and they were all blurry and groovy. I'm like, no, this ain't it. And I had to turn him down. And I'm driving back to my hotel all depressed, going, God, I need to find a sunflower. I look to the left of me. On the side of the road, there's a field of sunflowers. What? I pulled over, yanked a couple out, drove back to Woodstock, and found some little copy place that had a scanner. And I dropped that thing in there, and I showed up with the artwork the next day, and they fired the people and hired me. And that's how I got my break in art.
That was your first real professional.
That's right. And my entire life has been paid for by art ever since that moment.
Wow. So
sunflowers.
Just your journey, to sum it up, really. And of course, this is like a loose summary, right? You're a kid, you're obsessed. You do it forever.
Yes. Still.
Years and years.
To this day.
And then you're kind of making a little cash here and there. Here's a cassette. You're kind of making some money until the opportunity came. What's that? Preparation meets opportunity, and that's success or luck. Is that it?
The build it and they will come. Mm-hmm. My field of dreams was a field of sunflowers.
So you were just ready, though. You had the skills and the ability and the passion.
Yes.
And that whole time, you're like, I'm going to do this. I'm not even preparing any other path. This is the path, and I'm just going to keep on.
It wasn't trucking. A worry. And it never has been. It just was like, that's what I'm good at.
Interesting. We had another guest here, Seth Word, the clown. And I think he's the only other one where he also had very supportive parents. That's something that it's super common, where the family is always like, no, you're not doing this. You're going to go be a lawyer. You're going to do anything except for your art. And you kind of have to do it on the side. But some of the more successful people I've met had parents who were actually supportive and who nurtured that.
Yeah, that's definitely. And I was the youngest of four. And it wasn't so much the case with my older brother. So, but it all turned around. A very creative family.
What do your brothers do?
My brother that I was in the band with, Bryn, he's a musician, so I was making music too, and I ended up playing Woodstock because of all of that. And I was a DJ for 9 years. So, and he just, I was just kind of obsessed with the music that he nurtured me on. And then my oldest brother is just kind of a creative mind and an unbelievable photographer. And my sister is an art teacher. And she's Orthodox Jewish, and she takes in women and travels around the world with them, and they pour their heart out into these beautiful paintings, and it's therapeutic to their lives. And she's got her heart is bigger than most, and that's how she shows her art.
Art therapy.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Art therapy. Mm-hmm.
So what has been your most proud moment as an artist?
Being hired by Dolly Parton was definitely one of those. Oh my God. You know what I mean? And spending time with her. And I've done 3 of her album covers. First one was Backwoods Barbie, and I photographed the entire thing, which was heaven. And more recently, the last music video that I directed, I did Ringo Starr, and creating art with him and talking about art and visiting his home, and just like, it took a second to turn off the fan in me. It's important when you're with someone like Dolly or Ringo or Elton. I never spent time with Elton, but I did do one of his music videos, to not gush. Just, you got to be, you're there for the art. You're not there to take a photo with them. But I think one of my strengths is I can take an artist and make them look the best they can look to their fans. Like, I think to myself, what do they want? What should they look like? What's their strongest thing, their strongest moment of their career? How do I make that come across in what I'm doing? You know what I mean? Some people take some left turns, some right turns, but what was that moment where Liza looked the best? Cabaret. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I just did the poster for the new documentary, which is phenomenal. But I chose, of course, the cabaret here with that hair and just like style.
That's the most iconic for Liza. So good call.
So good.
How did you find yourself working for Dolly Parton? What's that story?
Oh, that's a great one. I have a friend who's from Minnesota who is her manager, Danny Nozell. And I was at a Dodgers game, and I got a phone call. And he's like, you know what, Kai, we can't figure out what to do with this album cover. She's got a record she just made. It's called Backwoods Barbie. And this is how it went down. I was with my friend Steven. And I said, give me a second to think about it. I'll call you back if I get a nice idea. And so we're sitting at the Dodgers game. We light up a joint and took a hit as someone made a hit. And immediately it came to me. It was like, what if Backwoods Barbie, what if Dolly Parton becomes the silhouette, the chrome silhouette on the back of a mud flap, like the silver girl on the back of a mud flap. You've seen that thing, but Dolly's thing. So I called up Danny. I'm like, what if Dolly's the silver mud flap girl? Like, that's Backwoods Barbie. I was thinking backwoods, trucks and stuff. And he calls me right back. He goes, Dolly, last week, pulled over to a As Seen on TV show store, which are around in Tennessee in Pigeon Forge, where she lives, and bought one like the week before my idea. So you got the job.
She's like, that's a sign. I feel like she would say that is a sign from the universe, or from God.
Well, and what I got really lucky is Dave LaChapelle was hired to be the photographer now for my idea.
I don't know who that is.
It's okay. He's a super famous photographer that's done some really great stuff. Just really wild, bizarre photos. You'll look them up and you'll go, oh, I know that one, I know that one, I know that one. But it turned out his schedule wouldn't allow.
No.
And I said, Danny, I can photograph. So I did. And we did 10 setups in one day.
Wait, you photographed Dolly?
Oh, yeah.
What? Wow.
The first photo that I did of her on the shoot, we were set up in her mother's and her grandparents' cabin, which they actually lived in long time ago. Dolly had moved her grandparents' cabin and her church to her property up in the Smoky Mountains. And it was such an amazing place to visit. And I'm sitting down with Dolly, getting ready to do the first shoot. And she goes, Kai, did you hear the record? Did you hear the record? I'm like, no, I didn't. And she looks over at Danny, the manager, goes, Danny, why hasn't Kai heard the record yet? And then, I don't know. And the place was a little too overcrowded. You had the makeup person, you had the publicist, you had the whoever. Too many people on set for my taste. But anyway, I had my camera, and she goes, well, okay then. And she looks me right in the eye, and she goes, well, I'm a backwards Barbie. And she sang the whole song a cappella right to me.
Oh, my God.
And when she got done doing that, which tells the story of the album, she goes, now you know what you need to do, like that. And I just was like, and I was tearing up a little bit. Can you imagine?
I mean, yeah.
And you're so nervous. I was so nervous because I actually did a photo shoot the day before. I went to every setup, every location with a stand-in just to make sure I'm not going to mess this up for Dolly. And she had never had anybody do that before. I don't think many people do that. It's probably a little more expensive, but I think it was worth it. Anyway, I picked the camera up and I go, all right, are you ready? And the one thing that had never occurred to me is that Dolly's done this a million times. So all I really had to do was make sure it was in focus. She's doing the rest. It put such a sense of relief on me.
She knows like all her angles, exactly how to smile, all the things.
Yes. So it was like, this is going to be easy. All of my tension is gone. And we just had a wonderful day. Shooting in 10 different places.
And she clearly had a wonderful time too, because you worked with each other again and again and again over the years. Did 2 more album covers, and I did the Dumpling. Art directed the Dumpling. What?
And actually have 2 songs in the movie that I wrote and produced. And
I love Dumpling.
Nice.
That was such a fun, cute movie.
It is cute. Jennifer Aniston. Yeah.
Now I'm going to fangirl. I had no idea.
Yeah,
Wow. That's so cool.
I did that. The songs are a band called Jinx with Beck, my friend Beck Black. She's the singer. And we had 2 songs. They're kind of hard to hear. But the one's like in the pool scene. And then the other ones is when I think in the high school in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's cool.
Isn't that cool?
That is really awesome.
Anyway.
Wow. So...
You're in Dollywood right now.
I know. You got me so distracted. I'm like, Dolly Parton.
She's mesmerizing on so many levels. One of the really amazing things she did say once, when we were in the middle of a shoot, somebody was like whispering in her ear, and I could tell it was bothering her. And finally, Dolly just turns around and goes, you know what? I don't need your advice, she said to the person. She goes, just give me the information and I can decide. I'm like, yeah, that's so good.
That is an alpha woman.
So amazing.
That is amazing. She is a queen. The queen.
So wise, so funny, and edgy. I mean, she's great. Or dirty jokes, whatever they are.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So my next question is what were the keys to your success? Like if you had to pick 3 things, what are they?
When you're down, work.
Hmm.
If you need to block something out, if you just work through it. It's hard to do it, but once you get started, it really brings your brain back. It's almost meditative. There's one piece of advice.
Mm-hmm.
Do what you want to do, right? Examples. I designed Van Halen's final poster ever. Didn't know it was going to be. Didn't know Eddie was going to die. But I wasn't hired to do it. I just wanted to design their poster for the Hollywood Bowl. So I designed it and I dropped it off at the Hollywood Bowl just to show it to the band or whatever. And somehow the band saw it like the week before and asked me to print them up. So if you want to do something for somebody, if you want to work for somebody, just make something that comes straight from your heart and your mind. A, you surprise them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not looking for it. B, nobody's directing you. So you're going to come up with something that's probably really true to them. And they'll go, wow. So like you'll have such a great place in their mind that next time that maybe they need something, they'll go, oh, remember that guy who just did that? Let's hire him. And that's happened to me on many occasions.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm doing an event on Sunday at Dick Van Dyke's house just because I decided to make a Dick Van Dyke poster and send it to him. They're like, oh my God, we love it. So it's part of an event that's happening on Easter Sunday.
That's really cool.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. So even though, I did that when I was starting out, I'm still doing it.
So what I'm hearing is you really make your own opportunities.
Correct.
And it's not just about taking those chances, but also about networking and being not afraid to talk to the people and reach out to the people and present yourself.
I am an extrovert. Some artists are not.
Mm-hmm.
Artists can be kooky. They can be mischievous.
I think our viewers would agree with you.
We can be kooky.
Yeah.
But I probably should change that. Like I'm probably more outgoing and outspoken than most artists because sometimes they speak with their art more than they do with their mouths.
Interesting.
It is.
Yeah, I think another thing that I've noticed as a creative myself, maybe a lot of other people out there, is you kind of tend to wait for someone to come and give you an opportunity. And what I'm hearing from you is that's not how it goes. That's not how to get success necessarily.
No way.
Sure, it could happen, but it's
never go woe is me, man. You are sunk if you go woe is me. Oh man, I can't get a break.
And I don't really mean woe is me. I mean more like
But people do
who
that.
Kind of sit and they make their art and then they wait and will someone ever look at me? Will anyone pick me? And you're saying no, that's never gonna happen. You gotta go out there. You gotta be aggressive.
I have a storage space filled with mistakes. And all artists do. They're like jokes.
I have
They're
a
not all
notebook
good.
full of jokes,
You know
several
what I mean?
notebooks full of jokes that are not
It's
good.
important to really cherry pick your best stuff, and it's helpful if you have the ear and or the eye to do so. Not everybody does. Certain bands need that A&R guy to pick the right song, Some people let the bass player design the album cover and they end their career. No, I mean, you know what I mean? I think, not to toot my horn, but I think that's part of what I am good at, is knowing when the design is done and it's right.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm now hearing two more things. So one,
Yes.
you got to put yourself out there. Two, you need to edit. So when you do put yourself out there, don't just put out any old thing. You really need to.
Oh my God, I've seen people destroy their
self-awareness.
Opportunities by just going, I did something. Blah, there it is. No, you're not done.
Know when you're done. Edit it. Make sure it's really good. And then once it's really good, put it out there.
I have a new saying this year that I'm really trying hard to apply to my life. And I feel like it's been a problem for me in my life. I'm so excited all the time and I have FOMO on things. I find myself getting there before anybody else is there. And I don't think that's a comfortable place for a person to be for a situation, for a job, for anything. Because like my new saying is, pull back, look around, then move forward. I'm trying to do that more in my life right now.
It's such a balance of everything. You got to make mistakes and be willing to take chances, but also edit and know when to show something, when not to show something. Move fast, but also pull forward, pull forward, pull back.
And still be yourself and
Be yourself.
follow your gut.
Mm.
Follow the gut thing, man.
I mean, that's kind of the listening to the muses of creativity, too. I love the book Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert because she talks about how creative ideas are like these spirits. They're like these ethereal beings that come to you and they ask to be born. And then if you do not give birth to them, they move on and then somebody else will give birth to that idea. But I feel like intuition and that tapping into creative something, it's like you're stopping to listen for that spirit, and it gives you you just feel a little, I'm going to do this.
I think you nailed it.
Yeah.
I think maybe I rarely read anything but rock biographies, but maybe I should read that one.
Yeah. I'd say any person who's creative needs to read Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, no matter what your art is. I read it. She's a writer. As a comedian, I read it, and it was so insightful, and I think anybody would get a lot of value from it, except for maybe you, because you might already know everything.
See, that's what I was about to say, because I have a tendency, people will go, you got to read this art book, it's so good, or you watch this art show, and then I start reading, I'm like, I know these things, this is what I do, and I live it. Like literally, as I sit here, I'm looking at these tripods and how they actually look like my logo, and how things balance in a room, and
your mind just
it's
works
fun.
in art.
It's fun. Mm-hmm. It's cool, and it's never ending. I'm a visual armchair quarterback of life.
That's really cool. That's pretty great.
That's really cool.
Well, next, what I want to talk about.
I like how you keep pushing this along.
Let's set aside all the Kii Arens stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Please.
I want to get into talking about the world with you, society at large.
Wow, what a society we are right now. We are all at large with our own little devices that make us think we need to share all of our messages and stories when some of that can be left in the journal. And we got egos that get attached to it because, we got to like where did the mystery go? Right? There is no mystery. I feel sorry for bands now that feel compelled to post 3 to 4 times a day. You used to wait every 2 years. You got an album, a photo, and music, and a lyric sheet. And that's all you needed, man. And then you can develop the passion and the dream as opposed to, here I am at home, here I am cooking. I'm like, you just killed the mystery. Man, if Prince did that, that would have pissed me off.
Yeah, you get way too much of them. You don't want to. You don't want. No. Who wants that? Nobody wants that. Yeah, totally.
Anyways, I went on a tangent. Jesus.
The thing that we've talked about when we met through a mutual friend, Dana. She's amazing.
She's so cool.
She's the coolest. So shout out to Dana.
Not
the Dana who was on this podcast, a different Dana. Okay. But we were chatting quite a bit about Joe Rogan. And the manosphere.
Bros everywhere. Bros taking their shirts off and showing their bellies. Bros giving advice on shit they know nothing about, and then just going, but I'm a comedian, so I could say that. I'm like, no, you should take accountability and think about what some of the dangerous stuff that comes flying out of your mouth to how many millions of people on a daily basis. I think it's starting to slap back a little bit right now.
I really hope so, because there's so much toxicity, and it's not just the comedians, it's the Andrew Tates of the world who are giving people really bad advice. I think the most toxic thing for men, I mean, there's so much that can be said in the universe of this topic, but I want to focus on men specifically. I feel like they're being harmed by the manosphere because it's my belief that masculinity and femininity, these concepts are like a box that they put you in, and you're supposed to fit inside that box and force yourself to be a perfect square. No matter what you want, no matter what you want to do, you need to go to the gym and work out. You need to drive a Ford truck. You need to have a fish photo. You have to do all these things.
Shoot, I knew I was missing something in my life. A fucking fish photo.
They want you to say, oh, I need to be masculine. So you jump through all these hoops.
We have so far to go.
So far. And what they do, in my opinion, is
And dudes have it coming, by the way. We have it coming.
Men have it coming. But what these labels of masculinity and femininity do is they make you lose who you are. Where's your sense of self? You end up just being a copy-paste of somebody else. All these manosphere guys who follow all that.
It's so unnatural.
They're just not individuals. Like
sometimes I wonder if we would be better off blind.
Honestly, that's not a bad point at all.
That's a good song title.
Better off blind. Yeah.
Okay, coming up on the next podcast, I'll have that one ready for you.
There you go.
I was listening to NPR today, and the guy who is the host on the new live show with that attractive middle-of-the-road comedian who's actually a really good host.
John Mulaney.
John Mulaney.
Yeah.
Who's the guy who is the side host?
I don't know.
Anyway, older gentleman, hilarious, great character. But his age was showing in this conversation because they were talking about spiritualism. And he's like, I don't believe that there is just like a Jewish God or a Catholic God. I think there's just this power. There's just a single power out there. And he is, and I'm like, and he is, there we go. There is we have so far to go to think that whatever the ultimate God is, if there is, whatever. But why is it just a man?
Why does it even have a gender?
Why does
it doesn't have a body. It doesn't have a penis or a vagina. I don't know why I said it like that. A vagina.
It sounded like a vegetable.
It sounded like how Donald Trump might say it. Like, a vagina.
Yeah. And then if I were to get married to you and you take my name, that is so messed up.
Yeah.
But although it is kind of fun, whoever does have the cooler name is who should win, I think.
Okay, sure. So if the woman has the cooler name, they should just both take that one. I agree with that. I like that.
Whatever.
I'm into it.
I'm into it.
Yeah, but I was thinking too
What if you picked a different last name that you guys just both thought was cool?
My ex-husband wanted to do that. Actually, he
Really?
wanted us to be the St. Clairs. Because we didn't like our individual last names.
Like, that cracks me up.
Yeah, and I was like, that's dumb. Why would we do that?
St. Clair. It's kind of
no
cool, though.
sense.
It's kind of a cool last name.
Yeah, it would have been cool, but
anyway.
No.
Move as we were talking.
Yeah.
Dudes.
Just want to talk about that. But, like, you're someone who definitely is out of the box.
Yeah.
You are straight. So
I'm straight.
In case everyone was curious.
They always,
because you don't drive a truck and you don't have a fish with you.
I referenced Liza and Dolly and Elton in this conversation. Still, I might be just like one chromosome away from being gay.
But, you're wearing nail polish.
I have since I saw Spice World in 96. That is not a lie.
You're a very unique person.
Thank you. Well, thank you.
And I just think it's so funny that maybe to a lot of manosphere people, you would not fit their measuring stick of like manliness. Of being a dude. Mainly because you're not eating raw beef right now. Ugh. Like, you should constantly be eating raw beef if you're a real man.
Elk meat. Oh, it's so good.
And like, yeah, why? Yeah.
Let me say this about Rogan. I used to really enjoy the podcast before the Austin thing went down. Mm-hmm. And I also really liked his political, fevered live performances. I used to go to the Comedy Store every week. Mm-hmm. Jeff Ross is a good friend of mine, so I've had a great door into seeing Sarah Silverman a lot, and seeing, Chappelle a lot, just all the comedians. And I was really getting into the fever that Rogan was in, but all of a sudden when he got down there and all the bros followed him, it's just for me, it doesn't feel good. And I got a lot of friends that move there that are down there doing that thing. Friends are friends, but damn, just like dudes need a step back.
Why do you think young men are so drawn to it? Like, what's the obsession about?
Insecurity? I don't know. It's just not part of my makeup to understand that thrive for masculinity.
How are you different? Like, what is it about that all where you're like, that's not for me? Like, it's like you have the anecdote, like somehow you're immune to it.
I don't know.
Everybody else is like falling for this.
But like they fall, like some of the like people who fall for the fact that they think woke is bad. Isn't woke basically being educated about a particular topic?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, and then the directive is from Trump that woke is bad. Woke is bad. I'm going to say it enough times to the point where you'll believe it, and then people believe it, and and now I can control you. I'm mind controlling you. It's just, there's so many crazy things that are happening in the world that men are perpetual like, and where are the women that are standing behind these dudes that have raped? And just like it's mind blowing to me.
It is.
The common sense is gone.
I think that there are women who are subject to the similar things on the other side. I've seen that all this divine feminine stuff and pressure to be somebody who wears long hair and having certain personality traits designated too masculine and like, oh, you got to be in your feminine. And that's a whole very silly thing. I encountered it when I was starting to date in my 20s, and I was reading books on dating and how to be. And there was one David Data book where he goes, oh, if a woman makes plans and like gets shit done and she's assertive and she's in her masculine. And I was like, that is wild, because that's just being a competent adult.
Right.
And to be in your feminine, you have to be just emotional and kind of all over the place. And it kind of sounds like they're just trying to kneecap my success in life, not like they're actually giving me advice. And
Right.
that's where I kind of got part of my point of view on masculinity and femininity is just like, oh, those are just bullshit. They're just bullshit labels. That's how I haven't fallen for any of it. But you grew up in a whole other era.
Yeah.
Definitely the 90s.
Yeah. Well, I know I grew up in the
80s,
70s and the
70s.
80s. I'm 57. I was born in 67. So I actually have a memory of spraining my ankle in the 60s. So I remember the 60s. But, in the 70s, and I grew up around hockey players in Minnesota, and I remember getting beat up when I liked Adam Ant and being like forced out of sports world because I was bleaching my pants and wearing my sister's white leather boots to school and pretending I'm Adam Ant. Like I don't think gender or race ever became something in my mind. I don't know who cracked that nut in my head, but maybe it was Queen. Maybe Queen, the band. Maybe it was Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dog's name is Freddie. Maybe I just loved the pomp and circumstance of it all.
Also, like Prince was really big when you were.
I was huge into Prince. I was in a Prince movie. I was Prince's art director for 2 days.
What? That's awesome.
Yes, I was right when he turned into the symbol.
Mm.
But the person that had been offered the job before me, she decided to move from London to Minneapolis and take the job. Day 2 that I had in my own office at Paisley Park, they dropped the bomb on me. That was so hard. Getting in that car and driving away from Paisley Park thinking I had the best job in the
But
it's still there.
But back to it. You bringing up this art and Queen, I think you're onto something, because Prince, he's not a guy with a fish in a Ford pickup truck. He is Prince. He's
Prince.
And it's not like Prince was some like guy who no women liked. Like women loved
Panicked
Prince.
over that dude.
Yeah. And then there's David Bowie. Women love David Bowie.
Men love David Bowie.
Men,
Yeah.
Everybody loved David Bowie, and he's not a guy with a Ford pickup truck and abs and a fish,
Yeah. Nobody's cooler
than David Bowie.
Mm.
So I think you're onto something. Like, there was an era where there were a lot of hot, desirable men who transcended gender lines and how they presented themselves and lived, and they're gone. I've been thinking about this a lot lately too, like with people like Carlin being got. When Robin Williams, he was another one where like that's an amazing man who isn't a guy with a Ford pickup truck and a fish, And he's a great example of someone who's not toxic masculinity, just like a good guy.
Yeah. Stole a lot of jokes, but good guy.
You said it, not me.
No, he did.
But we don't have all these examples of not toxic masculine men in the big starosphere, in the celebrity, in the public zeitgeist as much anymore.
But let me repeat, though. I think Robin Williams was literally a sampler of jokes. Whereas hip-hop uses beats, like he would just hear something and it would stay in his head and it would spit it out a million miles an hour. He would literally remix the original interpretation of joke, but he did it all the time.
He did. But what you can't deny is, like, as a performer, he is
phenomenal
with the best of all time.
God,
Robin Williams.
You agreed.
And as an actor, too, one of the best of all time. And his characters were people who
Some comedians can really do that.
Oh, yeah. You felt so much compassion for the characters. He moved you. My point. I'm getting away from my point. Yeah, we don't have those celebrities anymore that are like healthy masculine, or just to show that like, oh, you don't have to be that cartoon of a
Who's
man.
that guy
to
that's
be a man.
flipping off the top of pianos now?
Oh, Benson Boone.
Yeah, I'm gonna see him next weekend at Coachella.
Nice.
Brian May's gonna be there.
That's awesome. No, I mean, but I guess what you're saying is that the future of masculinity lies in the hands of Benson Boone.
No, no, but whatever.
I do think we need a lot more like super talented male celebrities who wear nail polish and maybe dresses, I don't know, but are also straight.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah.
You just either you want to kiss a guy or you don't.
It's simple.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like I have a niece that's now a nephew, and it's amazing, Daisy becoming Danny. When I met Danny, I'm like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. You are way cooler as a totally femme dude. You know what I mean? And but I don't understand. I mean, it's definitely a new craze in society. Like the gender bending is full on.
It's still here. It's just not as mainstream as it was before, I guess.
But also mainstream has changed too, because everything gets like really categorized. I mean, you could go to the Forum tonight and it'll be sold out from an act you've never heard of, because you can make your own YouTube channel. You can just dial it in, where before there wasn't so many avenues, I think, for these things to be discovered.
And that's really like splintering culture. That's a good point, because we're not all following the same flag of like, oh, this is what masculinity is, or oh, we love this artist, and we're just split in a million directions, and now we don't have a common language.
No, and maybe that's the point. Maybe it's the gumbo that's being made. Maybe we're all becoming one color. What if music becomes one note?
Oh, no.
Have you heard that new note today? Oh, so good.
That's so funny, because it's like, okay, everybody's going in a million directions, and yet somehow we're losing all of it. We're losing the things that define us, that define a culture, because it's so spread apart. That's a real bummer.
Maybe we're just in a major turning, like maybe we're on the edges of something. I don't know.
Oh, God. I
or
hope
maybe this is it.
I hope it's the edge of a good thing and not the edge of a bad thing.
I think it is. My dad always said, in the end, goodness wins. And I still believe that.
That is so Minnesotan of you to say.
Exactly. Yeah, very much a farm boy from Minnesota. I'm not. My father was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm having like a weird brain moment.
Bernie Sanders crosses over. Don't you think? I don't think he's just a dude. I don't think of him as a macho man. I just think of him as a brain and a half with a microphone.
Bernie Sanders is Bernie Sanders. I think, maybe what people are going for is in a time where there's so much social change. You've got climate change happening, all kinds of things going on in the world. Like the economy is
Manipulated full on.
There's records amount of income inequality happening. So much uncertainty in the world. So people are looking for something to guide them, something to give them an answer. And I think what these Manosphere podcasts provide, and TikTok dating coaches and all that, they go, if you do this, then you'll know the outcome will be that. And that's comforting. It's predictable. I think it's a lot more scary and vulnerable to go, I'm going to wear blue nail polish as a man. I'm going to wear blue nail polish and maybe even high heels. Who knows?
Periwinkle.
Periwinkle. And go, I'm going to be an artist. I'm going to make art. That's very vulnerable to do. It's scary to do. It's like taking a leap off of a cliff and hoping that you'll land on something soft.
Yeah, I don't know if it's never been scary to me. It's always just been fun. And then you go to get your nails done and you try to feel what color you're feeling at the moment. And hopefully you make the right decision.
Well, that's having a sense of self. Like you trust that you're feeling your inner guide, that intuition will tell you the right thing to do. But that listening to yourself, that is...
You only have your next breath.
Yeah. So it's better to do something that makes you happy, that sparks joy and is true to you.
Yeah, that's not to say that I don't look into the past and worry about things and go off in directions that your mind shouldn't. But generally speaking, that is the way you should really live. Whatever happened in the past, learn from it. Don't get too crazy about it. But you literally have tomorrow. You have right now.
Yeah. So why live to try to fit somebody else's measuring stick for your life?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people do. But we are humans and we're just weird. We're just a bunch of ants running around, and sometimes the right and the wrong direction. Sometimes we get stepped on. Sometimes we get burned by a magnifying glass by a little kid that doesn't know what he's doing.
Or a president.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I think we almost give humanity too much credit. We think it's way more important than it actually is. I think we're very young as a species. Like how many generations have we actually really been on Earth? I don't know. A long time compared to as we can measure it, the time that exists.
Yeah. I think that's why people try to reach back into the past to also find guidance for things, because they're like, well, if we existed back then, maybe that's going to be how we exist in the future. Like people who look at like ancient Rome or old spirituality. And the truth is, we've been around for not very long.
No.
And none of those things are necessarily the answer, because the only constant thing in life is change.
Right.
So,
and, living where we live, we've been told that America is the best. We're in the best country ever. I just went to Japan, and I got news for you.
It's Japan.
Oh, it's great. It's organized. The pace, it's beautiful. Everything is art. Everything is functional. Everything works. I don't know. In the experience that I had there, I'm like, yeah, go somewhere else and get a grip on it. And if you're gonna, oh no, I was just gonna jump into like more of that Rogan conversation.
No, do it.
There was a guy on there that was saying that he can know enough about a topic without actually going somewhere.
No.
Remember that dude? Do you know who that dude is?
Mm-hmm.
Like total bullshit. Like you can't. That's like, I have a lot of friends in Minnesota that just shit talk California because they've never been. Then you come here and you've got the mountains, you've got the desert, you've got the ocean, you got all these wonderful things. You know what I mean? But you're going to sit back in Minnesota and try to tell somebody who it is. The same guy that was on the Rogan podcast trying to tell everybody about what's going on with Gaza and has never visited anywhere near there. He's only read shit about it. It's like, anyway, I think I'm starting to get a little heated about it.
No, it's okay. It's okay to get heated.
Anyway.
But yeah, I think there's...
The dude was educated. Yeah, he's done a lot of studying, but it is true. How many times have you thought you knew something? Like everything you know, you should just... I've always thought everything I know is wrong until... you kind of get a grip. And even when you try to put a yes or a no on a question, the variables around that question will change the next day. So don't get stuck with a yes or a no and feel like you've accomplished your job by answering a question. Keep the answer, keep the box unchecked forever. Because you have to be wishy-washy, go, I don't know, green light, red light, I don't know if I'm going to go or not. No, but you know what I mean? That way you keep looking at the question as the variables around it change.
Ooh. But that would require thinking actively and not just letting someone tell you what to do. I've been taking these Pilates classes, and I think they're giving me a smooth brain.
Good.
That's not good. Smooth brain is dumb.
Wait a minute. What? Why?
Okay. So I used to go to the gym, and I would work out, and I'd have to think about, what am I going to do next? And I need to count. I'm doing 15 of these and 12 of those and all of that. And then I left my gym, started going to Pilates. You go to Pilates, and they just go, all right. Now you're going to do these little jumpy things. Okay, do the jumpy things. And they go, okay, stop jumping. Now you're going to do plank until I say you stop doing plank. Okay, sure. And
I see.
You're not thinking about what you're going to do next. You're not present in the moment. You're kind of just doing what they say. And that is so easy. And it's so relaxing to just do whatever somebody else is saying. And you just turn off your brain and then you do the Pilates. And I think that is what all this gender stuff is. I think that's what the manosphere is. It's Pilates. It's just a thing where someone tells you what to do, and you get to pretend you're an individual person by following it's paint by numbers for you as a human.
Right.
And that's not the right way to live. I'm sorry.
The physical activity is such a wonderful thing for you mentally, though. I mean, that being said.
Yeah, this is a metaphor.
Gotcha.
Do Pilates. Do Pilates.
Do something.
But I think it's easy to float along with something that's very defined, and it's less easy to think about the question actively every single day of what does it mean to be a person? What should I do with my life?
Is that why Taylor Swift is so popular?
Why?
Because you don't really have to think too much about it.
I mean, you're not wrong. You kind of know what you're going to get with Taylor Swift.
Nothing wrong with that. I love myself a Big Mac. But you know what? Actually, I don't now. I had one the other day, and I got done eating, and I just went,
Yeah.
That first bite. Sorry. Okay, what? Pilates.
So I think my advice to people, and maybe this is the key to unlocking that whole manosphere, deprogramming people from it, but it's you're losing yourself. And you need to be brave enough to be you and not who other people tell you to be.
Unlock the manosphere now.
You don't have to lift weights. You could play tennis. You could.
I love tennis.
Play pickleball.
I haven't done that yet. I've heard good things.
You could say, you know what? I don't have to have giant muscles. I could have moderately sized muscles and find a nice girl who likes me for who I am.
Yeah.
And for the body that I have. But that would be vulnerable. And we don't like being vulnerable.
Maybe you should go get some plaster of Paris and some paint and make something really cool that you never thought of and don't even have a preconception of what you're going to make until you get there.
I think you found the solution. I think people need to do art.
The greatest stuff happens when you just don't expect it. Like, you just like, oh my God, I'm here. And then you're like jumping up and down. Wait, can I share an example of that? This is very interesting. So I make a lot of music and I make music videos. I'm shooting a music video tomorrow for a guy named Mono Neon. And I went over to his place, or the producer's place, and he was there. And they played this new song. And the beat was so freaking good. And I'm like getting down to it. And I literally stood up and I'm dancing. And one of the lyrics in the song was something about "This Ain't Sweet Caroline," was the chorus. And I didn't really feel that. And in the middle of the song, he goes, "And it's gymnastics." And I went, now that's interesting. I'm like, will you give me that track? I want to go home and mess with it. So I went home on GarageBand and I cut it up and I took that little gymnastic part and I'm like, gymnastic. And I put it in like 3 other times and I turned it into the chorus and I put a little heavy guitar on it because we need more guitar and shit. We need more guitar shit and no mumble rap. Anyway, so I did that and I sent it back to him. The next day, they sent it back to me. And now George Clinton is on there going, let's give gymnastic, baby. Let's get gymnastico. Like, now the song is called Gymnastics.
What?
And today, I sent all the tracks to Big Boy from Outkast, and he's jumping in the mix. And that was just from following the gut on going, I think that chorus is gymnastics. And now it is. And look who jumped aboard. Because now it's interesting. It's creative. It's fun. It's not just, here's your chorus.
Yeah, great things don't happen when you're cookie cutter. Great things happen when you take chances and when you go with your gut and you're like, ooh, this is cool.
That happened yesterday. That's why it's so exciting to me.
That is very exciting.
It is pretty exciting.
But there's so much.
Now I wrote a song with George Clinton.
That's amazing. That is very exciting. But like everything you just said is exactly the answer to the manosphere. Actually, believe it or not, because if people did more art, if they learned about that process of being vulnerable, of taking a chance and doing something that nobody's ever done before, because no one told you, here's how to make a perfect song. Blah, 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 blah. No, you've been doing art and you have a sense for it. There is no path. You just do the thing, take the chance.
It.
And people are not willing to do that with themselves. And maybe just do the thing, take a chance, be yourself. You don't have to follow a diet that somebody told you to do, eating carnivore. You don't have to have a fish. You could do anything. You could do anything. And just be you. That's all you need to do. Just be yourself. And somebody will love you for you. And that's actually more meaningful than trying to be masculine and trying to find a perfect feminine match. And then neither of you are yourself. You're falling in love with cartoon characters and other humans, not with the actual person.
Yeah, you don't have to be creative either. Like, that may not be the thing that excites you. Being super organized might be the awesome thing, because we can't all be the lead guitar player for a band. We need a bass player and a drum. We need the variety of things in life. But following your gut and being comfortable in those shoes.
Being comfortable being yourself, being comfortable taking chances that the person that you are as yourself, maybe somebody who's obsessed with pickleball.
Take a chance.
Take a chance on
change
being yourself.
Mind.
I'm the first in line. Take a chance on you. Hey.
Oh my God.
Take a chance on yourself.
Take a chance on you. You.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
You get the idea, you guys. Just be yourself. You don't need Joe Rogan or TikTok to tell you who to be. You know who to be.
Be it.
Go make some art.
Go make some art.
Learn how to be uncomfortable creating something that no one ever told you how to do.
Go make pickled strawberries.
Gross. But you know what? If that is your heart, someone's going to love your pickled strawberries. And that's your soulmate. Thank you so much for coming in the podcast. Let's
I think that's a good way to close it.
I think that is. let's talk about Biggie Smalls. What you're currently.
Thank you for.
thing.
Oh, I forgot about it.
Yeah,
So yeah,
Biggie
like
Smiles.
I saw this smile on the side of the road, and I went back and I took a picture and I kind of recreated it, and now I'm making sweatshirts. Biggie Smiles. Everybody needs to wear a smile. It's kind of like a devilish smile too. There's the logo. Biggie Smiles right there. I don't think you can see it, but that's okay. One smile fits all. Biggie Smiles. This is gonna launch, I think, the end of July. Just as an early prototype. I gave you one.
Yes, you gave me one.
And I gave you an early one that wasn't cut, and it's a little big and baggy, but I'm building the perfect beast.
If you ever wondered, hey, who's designing all those super expensive crew neck sweatshirts people wear? People like Kai.
People like me.
That's right.
I like wearing stuff that feels good.
Yeah, it's cozy. It's a pretty good sweatshirt.
Mm-hmm.
Where can
And
we
people
find
like
you?
it because they just go, hey. Where can they find it?
Yeah, where can they find you and it?
Well, at Kii Arens. At KIIARENS on Instagram. Or you can go to my website, which is kiiarens.com. KIIARENS.com.
Yeah, find him. Find him. You can look at his really cool art on his Instagram or his website and see what he posts and all the cool celebrities he's working with. Yeah, or you could commission a piece from him. Who knows? If you're out there and have a lot of money, anything's possible.
Let's go.
So, and I am
Thank
Cat
you.
Alvarado. You can find me on Instagram at Cat Alvarado Comedy. Tell your friends about the show. Listen to it on Spotify. Watch it on YouTube. Tell all your friends. Leave me a review. Hopefully something good. All right. Thank you so much, and thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, Kat. That was awesome.
Thanks for listening, you guys.
Smooth.
Bye-bye.